She wouldn't have wanted us to waste time feeling sorry for her. No, Brenda.
Brenda wouldn't want us to feel sorry for her. You know Brenda. And I'm like, do you? You guys just met her like 30 seconds ago. Hello and welcome back to the 199th episode of Good Bad or Bad Bad.
Close.
Show where we watch terrible movies and tell you you should too. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Gilligo, joined once again, and as always, by the other host of this show, Mr. Kyle Hinton. Before we get started, Kyle, I will mention here, speaking of episode 200, right around the corner, there may be a slight delay. We're still working out some details on that, so that may not come out immediately on schedule, but it will be very soon. So we're planning to film next weekend for that, hopefully. So we will see, but that's for the future. Today, Kyle...
Today we rage.
Today we rage.
Today we rage.
So you messaged me and were like, I'm having trouble finding an episode or like a movie. And I was like, nah, I'll do some looking around. Literally, I just went to Tubi and started scrolling through their like most recent releases.
And you saw the St. Louis Arch.
And I
you
saw,
were like,
yes.
Oh, hey, it's a Missouri film.
Yes. That
Not
is
really, but...
Not really, but it pretends it is. Yeah, I saw the Arch and I was like, oh, interesting, what is this? And it looked like a bad disaster movie. Mm-hmm. And so I started clicking through it, and then I went to IMDb and saw that it's supposedly set
specifically Southeast Missouri.
Missouri.
Spoiler.
Yes,
it's in our PO box.
It's in our PO box. So
Cape Girardeau is where we're out of.
Is where we're. Yeah, is the Good Bad or Bad Bad Studios are in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, which is in Southeast Missouri. And this story, parts of it take place in Sikeston, parts of it take place in New Madrid, which we'll get into. Marston, and then a little bit in St. Louis. They also go to like Nashville and Memphis and stuff, but. They don't go to any of those places for real.
No. I think desperately, because I saw this at the beginning, I was like, oh, cool. Were they actually in Missouri? The first thing I see is an Ohio license plate.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, oh, God.
I assumed this was all filmed in Canada. I thought Canada, because a lot of those these kind of movies are filmed outside of like Toronto and stuff like that.
There was a disaster training facility that they thanked in their like special thanks, and I looked that one up, and that was in like the northern part of LA.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that could be true too. I don't know where Asylum is based out of. So spoilers, getting into it. This is an Asylum film, which I didn't realize when I picked it.
So you know what to expect.
Yes, but it is an Asylum film. It's called, by the way, we haven't said it, Continental Split.
We have to stop this quake. Otherwise, millions will die.
Which is not that exciting of a name.
No.
You need to come. It needs to be something more dramatic, like Fault Line 2024, or I don't know, something.
Fractured.
Something like that. But just Continental Split. I don't know. I guess it's not that interesting.
In the trailer, they're like,
they'll split the entire continent in half.
It's gonna split the whole continent in half, and then you look up this New Madrid fault line, and you're like, that's not gonna do that.
I don't know enough about the seismology. Well, oh boy, neither do they. Spoilers for the movie. We'll get into that. So I have no idea, but I have always heard. Growing up in this region and born in St. Louis and then living here, you always hear about the New Madrid fault because it is supposedly the biggest fault in the country. I believe is like
within the continental United States, because the San Andreas fault line cuts right into the Pacific Ocean, and it doesn't carry a whole lot of distance before it gets out of land, basically.
Okay.
That's the whole reason.
Gotcha. Okay. But yeah, but we don't actually get a ton of... We get earthquakes occasionally down here. I don't think I've ever felt one, actually.
Very few and far between. They're not very...
They're pretty small, usually.
Yeah, they're usually pretty small.
Our local news site always posts a thing, did you feel it? And everybody goes, no. It's just like 1,000 comments.
I was a producer for a local news site, and my job specifically was to go to USGS and do the write-ups.
Yeah.
I know exactly the depth of the New Madrid fault as well. Which does not include how far they burrow into the ground here. They did zero research.
Yes. Well, they did so little research, and we'll get into it. Even the most baseline level of research. Like I said, stumbled across it on Tubi. Very excited because it is set on the New Madrid fault. So as we get into the story, as we get into the movie, we open up on some random redneck fishing on a lake.
Yes.
And a government guy shows up.
Yes.
And is like inspecting because there was a sinkhole.
Doing land surveillance.
Yeah, and the guy's like, aren't you guys done with that already? My cousin's house fell in the hole, and blah, blah. He's like really angry that the government is doing stuff. I don't know, whatever. And as he's fishing, The lake
just drops. Which, by the way, the guy, the USGS survey dude, what is his name? Ben?
I can't remember. He becomes a recurring character through the rest of the movie. I can't remember his name. I don't remember anybody's
how
name.
these sinkholes develop, which is water getting washed out, the limestone basically getting washed out.
Yeah.
And you're like, how's there a lake there if all the limestone's getting washed out? Wouldn't it just...
Well, I think that is what's happening. We're watching that happen. The limestone disappearing. Well, he said because there's like a sand blowout or something, and so all the sand like washes up and creates like a space for I don't know. But anyways, the effects, as you've alluded to,
the point is we get a big ass hole, and this lake has an infinite amount of water, which is great.
Yes.
Good for it.
Yes, because it just like it's a hole the size of thousands of feet deep, and the water's pouring into it, but it's not.
It's the freaking
receding.
It's the meme from Assassin's Creed Black Flag where like the ship falls through the world, and you get the outline of the ship, and the water just. It's so ridiculous.
It's incredible. By the way, our geological survey guy's name is Dan.
Dan,
so that's
Dan.
his name. But the effect of that lake opening up is just amazing. But he's able to pull the redneck guy away, like, get off the dock, and he gets out, and they stand like right on the edge.
Right on it. And they're like, hey, get away from that.
And then he's like, whoa, that's crazy. Let me go look. And he like walks down to the edge.
And immediately falls in because it opens
course.
more, but why not?
Collapses and he falls in, and then we get our opening title, Continental Split. Then we cut, and this is where it begins, Kyle. We cut and we get an establishing shot, supposedly, of New Madrid,
which
this is not New Madrid.
New Madrid's population is like what?
It's like 5,000 people. Yes,
it's so tiny.
Yes, and they show the aerial shot of it.
They have like these huge churches.
There's like a 7-story like office building.
No, New Madrid is a tiny little
town. The downtown area is like a couple streets of like 2-story buildings, and that's it. Like I'm
not even gonna say. I think it might be closer to 500 people. New Madrid is tiny.
No, it's 5,000. I looked it up. It's right around or 2,500 or 5,000. It's something. It's a couple thousand. Yeah.
There is no building there above like maybe 3 floors.
No, and like I said, the downtown area is like a few streets that are just 2-story little like shop buildings and stuff like that. But yeah, this aerial shot actually looks a lot more like Cape Girardeau, kind of like not really, but it like if anything, like where it's got all these old historic houses and like churches, and it's like that's not New Madrid at all.
What it feels like is like because of where the license plate Ohio, it's like they're just trying to pass off Ohio as Missouri, which doesn't work.
There's
a lot of shots that we have where we have landscape where. We're supposed to be down in New Madrid and Marsden and Sykeston, where you see like these hills in the background.
And just pine trees everywhere.
Yeah, and pine trees. I'm like, okay, clearly, again, no research.
No.
There is no elevation in that area of Missouri because it's a floodplain.
Yeah, it's incredible. And it's 2,500 people. I have it here in my notes is the population of New Madrid. But we're introduced, so we're in New Madrid, and then we're introduced to these two characters, this guy and this girl driving to their job. They don't say yet what that job is, but we will surmise, I think, that
it's something to do with seismology, right?
I think they're specifically working for the father's fracking company, like doing like surveying or something, I think is what's going on, is what it seems like.
Literally move like a snail. Like, do you care about this job at all?
No.
Because it seems like there's this, eventually we'll figure out there's this split. We'll get to that in a second when we introduce the other character. But they're driving, and then the road in front of them just
opens
up, and they like fall, and they land right on the ledge of this sinkhole this fault that is opened up, and they're teetering, and we think they might fall in, and then we cut away, and now we got to get introduced. We now cut down to Sykeston, baby, which is also this is not Sykeston.
No, it's not Sykeston.
The airport has like 8 hangars.
Yes. Now Sykeston does have an airport.
Yes,
it's a little regional, little dinky, like it might just be a municipal airport.
I think, it's very small.
No, it is not what this is.
No. Which this is also a small airport, but even still, it is a much bigger airport than Sykeston.
Airport is literally like 3 hangars, a taxi, and a runway, and that is it.
And so we're in Sykeston now, and this is where, and also I love that they seemingly this seismologist lady. So we're introduced to Dr. Cammy, I believe is her name.
Cammy Weddle?
Yeah, and she is the main character. She's a seismologist who works for the government, ostensibly in some capacity, but not like in a super official one. I don't know. But I love that they're based, seemingly their seismology lab is like located at the airport, which is weird, in a hangar.
Yeah,
well,
so
they have a
weird.
hangar
Yeah,
at the airport, and then there's a I love that their mobile seismology lab is just an old folks home shuttle.
It's a church bus.
Yes, it's literally a church bus that they have hollowed out and put like computer monitors everywhere. It's kind of amazing. Then, this is the first time in the movie they're talking about, I don't remember if they're talking about the city or the fault line, but this is the first time a character says New Madrid.
Emily and I are going to New Madrid.
I should go with you.
No, I need you to monitor the tectonic AI.
But they
say New Madrid. It's New Madrid in our area. Our area says like
Everything wrong?
we have like the names similar to other things in the world, but they're all said differently.
They're all said incorrectly.
Cairo is Cairo.
Is Cairo, yeah.
New Madrid is New Madrid.
New Madrid, yes.
Haiti is Haiti.
Haiti, yes. Yes. So there's a handful of those kind of cities and stuff like that are all pronounced incorrectly in our region. And I loved this movie did not do the slightest bit of research. It would take 2 seconds to like look up a YouTube video of somebody from the area saying like, oh, find like, I don't know, like the New Madrid County or the New Madrid High School like graduation and see how they say it. It would take 2 seconds of research.
So just remember, it's New Madrid and not New Madrid. Of course, upriver we have Cairo, Illinois, that looks like Cairo.
But they're like, nah. And Kyle, they will say New Madrid like 8,000 times.
So many times, dude.
It is hilarious. So they then were introduced to the daughter of Cammy, who is working with her mom currently, but wants
to work with her dad because that's where the money's at.
Why would you want to move in with your dad, huh? It's gonna get me a job that pays.
Cash moves everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
Well, and more so because she's mad at her mom. So her mom and her dad are divorced. And
they were split because they weren't technically divorced.
Sorry, they hadn't signed the paperwork yet, but they're separated. And she's been dating this new guy, Finn, who Finn gets the shortest shaft of anybody in this fucking movie. We'll get to it. Poor Finn. But he's just like this. He's like one of the computer scientist guys on her staff, and they're dating. And actually, he has proposed to her.
Yes,
they say.
Yeah, they were like making wedding plans and everything.
Yes.
While you're there, you can text me your thoughts on the color palette for the wedding.
And so the daughter's really upset about this because she's mad that her parents got divorced. So she's like mad that her mom's gonna get married to this new guy. So she's like, I want to go work with dad. Not really, because her dad is a fracking like runs a fracking company.
How many fracking sites are there in Southeast Missouri, Brian?
Yeah. I don't know. Are there?
There's zero.
Oh, is there?
I looked this up specifically because, like, I've never seen a fracking field. Now, there are some up in the Kansas City area because that's where the Great Fossil Basin is.
Yeah.
Like the Plains Fossil Basin. But there is nothing like that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I would have assumed there was, but it doesn't matter. So she's like mad at her mom. So she wants, so her dad works in fracking and he like represents the evil like corporate greed.
Yes.
Who like wants to like blah, blah, blah. And then her mom is like the good working like a scientist. She's basically, but they both had a seismology background. He used it, they used to work together. The husband and wife used to work together to help save lives from earthquakes or whatever.
Yes.
But then he got corrupted by money, and he went.
Damn him!
He went and started his own fracking company.
Uses powers for evil.
Exactly.
I was trying to make a life for us.
You prioritized work.
And now the daughter wants to go work with him because she's mad at the mom for getting married to this new guy. It's this whole family drama that's hilarious. But also like the whole thing is very funny. But she's like, well, maybe because her mom's like, well, why would you want to go work for a fracking company? Aren't you all about like the environment and stuff? And she's like,
yeah, it may be working for the wrong side, but I can make changes there.
Well, like maybe I can change it from within or whatever is what she says. But clearly she's just pissed at her mom for marrying this new guy. Then we get like another earthquake and they get some readings or something. So they go into the mobile lab and I love we get some of the techno jargon or one of the guys like,
I need you to monitor the tectonic AI. That software needs to be operating at 100%.
We got to monitor the tectonic AI. And they have some AI algorithm that can like analyze earthquakes to like predict them or something is the idea. But they find out about the one in New Madrid, or no, New Madrid, I think the one where her brother and the girl were. Is that New Madrid where they were? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And they find out about that, and they get a call, I guess, that about her brother being stuck in a truck like on the edge of a ravine. So they drive there to go save them. From Sikeston to New Madrid, it's like a 30-minute drive, isn't it?
Maybe closer to like 15.
Okay, maybe it's not
far away.
Okay, I know it's not far.
Marston's a lot closer, but
I just thought it was particularly funny because I could have swore that it was further away than I thought, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's pretty close. Let me look at my map here. I would say it's probably about 25, 30 minutes because it's about. So Sikeston is about halfway between here and New Madrid, south, roughly. It's a little closer to New Madrid. So it's probably like, because it's like 30 minutes to get to Sikeston from here.
Yeah.
It's probably like 20 to 25 minutes to get. Anyways, point being, they had to drive there while they drove for 20 minutes while their brother was like stuck. Nobody else could help them, I guess.
He's suffering what we like to call plot-induced temporal, like, stasis.
Yes.
Right? Where whenever the camera's off you, time stands still.
Time does not move.
Yep.
Yes. And then when it comes back, it starts moving. Also, they move things around. We'll talk about where Jeff City is apparently located in this movie later, but it is pretty amazing. But I love they get there, and the set they're on for this, they've just been an earthquake in New Madrid. The set they're on looks like a war zone.
Yes.
There's like rusted out school buses.
This is that emergency rescue training camp.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly, because it's got like old vehicles like rusted out sitting on the road. It's like, well, if an earthquake just happened, why would that be like that? It makes no sense. But it's clearly
crazy
because it's an old training site or whatever. And then, so they like get down there, and the dad shows up at the exact same time as well. And
this is the first time we're introduced to him. I guess I gave him a call as well.
Yeah, I guess they called him. And him and Cammy just both go busting right past the police, and it's like, we're saving our kid. Fuck you. And they go and they get a rope, and they're like climbing down onto the car to like haul the people out of the truck. And I don't know if you noticed this, but there's one angle in particular. They have a fog machine running during all this to create some ambiance, but there's one shot.
Is there a nice little outline? Like
you can see, we're looking like up, and you can see the edge of the cliff, and you can see they have the fog machine right on the edge, and you can see it like shooting. You can't see the machine, but you can see like it's clearly a fog machine pumping fog out.
Brian, clearly the radiator's having an issue or something.
I literally thought, I was like, what is that? Because initially I couldn't tell what it was, and I thought it was like a cloud in the distance. I'm like, is there like a mushroom cloud behind them? And then I realized it was a fog machine sitting like really close to the camera. Because then later in other shots, they did where it actually like diffuses and it just kind of adds ambience, but you just see it like so stupid. So they are able. Also, they somehow. I love Dan is also there. The seismology guy. He shows up, I believe, and he tells them as they're trying to rescue. They get the girl out, or in the process of getting Brenda out, and the guy's like,
"Put this around your waist."
Guys, you got about 2 minutes.
You have, by my calculations, 2 minutes.
Well, I was like, how are you marking this down? Like I understand from the movie side of it, you're like, we need to build tension and drama and all that, but that doesn't make any sense.
No, and like, so look, I'll give the movie, because they have this technology later where they can apparently predict earthquakes.
Yeah, which for some reason wasn't pre-installed or whatever.
We can predict earthquakes and pinpoint the epicenter.
But sure, and so I'll give them that. So like, because they start using countdowns later for like, we know the earthquake's coming in 9 minutes, and like that's obviously bullshit. But like, I'll at least give them that. But this, he's predicting how long it will take for the truck to fall off the. What does that even mean?
It's so dumb.
It's so stupid. I love it so much.
Guys, you got about 2 minutes.
And her brother sucks at getting. They get him out of the truck, and he's like shuffling, and I'm like, just get off the fucking truck, you idiot. And there's also, I'm pretty sure some of the establishing shots they show of like the destroyed cities after earthquakes are like shots from like Syria and stuff like that.
A lot of that stuff looked like tornado footage from like Moore, Oklahoma or something like that.
Yeah. No, there was some shots. Some of those are definitely tornado aftermath
but the building rubble ones, like the actual like
it looks like
city
Syria, man.
Yeah, it's like, oh cool, you just found some city in the Middle East that was bombed out.
It's what they're like. Literally, there's some shots of like apartment buildings. That I was like, I've seen that in news footage of like the Syrian civil war or whatever. Like, what are we doing here?
I love how cheaply this film was shot. and how expensively this film was post-production.
Yes, they just paid for a bunch of B-roll and slammed it all in their movie. And from all over the world, we'll get into some more later. There's an incredible shot of a city being flooded later that they try to pass off as the Midwest, which, we'll get there. It's incredible. So they're talking about some earthquakes. I don't remember. So they end up rescuing him. They have some jargon about how an earthquake is going to split, and then there's going to be a second earthquake, and it's going to generate a 10.0, and it's going to happen in less than like 9 hours.
They're calling this a pre-shock, right? Like,
yes.
like there's aftershocks.
Yeah,
well, this is the
pre-shock,
big one.
Transfers to the second stage. It'll only be 9 hours until
it produces a 10.0 or larger.
And we know that this big one's going to happen, and like they say, they're like in like 8 hours or whatever. We have 8 hours, and this big one's going to happen. So they got to call the governor. So that they can help stop the earthquake, whatever. But yes. I mean, obviously, they would do like evacuate people and stuff like that. But they seem to think that there's some sort of way they're going to stop this earthquake, which we find out they apparently can.
No,
kind of. Well,
they can, but like everything about this is so
stupid.
The solution is the dumbest solution.
Yes.
You know what the solution is? It's the same as airplane versus volcano.
It is. It's also the same as Armageddon, basically.
Well, at least in Armageddon, you're separating an asteroid to burn up in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
That makes more sense because you're creating more surface area.
Right, seemingly. This is the idea. Well, actually, in Armageddon, sorry, I got to correct you. In Armageddon, very important, they're trying to split it so that the two halves go around the planet.
Oh, that's even, never mind. That's really fucking stupid.
That's actually what they're doing, because if they don't get it deep enough, it'll just blow it into chunks, and then all the pieces would hit her. Is the idea. They have to split it so it goes around, I think, is the idea. But
I retract my previous statement.
So then we cut to but luckily the dad has an in with the governor because he gives her kickbacks so he can do fracking or whatever.
Can you get us in touch? You're pals, otherwise she wouldn't have approved of your fracking sites.
Donated to her campaign.
He's able to call the governor, and then we get a shot, and it actually is Jeff City, like the shot of the Capitol building. I was like, oh, that actually is the Capitol.
They have like drone shots of Washington City.
Yeah, they
and then
bought
we go into it, and it's like some city hall in LA or something.
Yes,
like that.
Absolutely. And I love they have this conversation. So she's talking on the phone to them, I think, and she says, like, you're suggesting an imminent mega casualty event?
You're suggesting an imminent mega casualty event.
It's not a suggestion.
An imminent mega casualty event.
They already had
it's
one.
It's called mass casualty event, I think. Maybe there is a term for mega.
But they already had a mass casualty event in New Madrid.
Yes, literally, like the whole city crumbled into like they act like they're. That's the other thing, is that later on, like the governor seems to be the only person responsible for anything in this.
Yes.
And it's like the entire middle of the country is like falling into the crust of the earth, and it's like all up to this one governor to make the right call. And it's like, why is nobody else?
Writers never heard of like an emergency response department.
So stupid. They don't care. It doesn't matter for what they're trying to do is what it is, but it's so funny. But the governor and her seismologist were introduced to the evil seismologist. Right? Yes. The evil seismologist. They don't believe them. They're like, nah, that's bullshit. You had a fault, because they said like they had a false warning a couple years ago or something like that.
Oh yeah.
2 years ago you thought the big one was coming. It did not.
She made some predictions, which is based off an actual seismologist professor from like the early 90s who made some predictions about catastrophic earthquake hitting the New Madrid fault.
Yeah,
that
and
never
happened. Yeah. So they're anyway. So they're not buying what she's selling or whatever. So anyways, the fracking guy she's like trying to convince her, blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. So then they decide they need to take. Is this where they decide they need to go set up the?
I think it's the
three things. So they got to do some sensors.
Dan and Brenda, you take Nashville. That leaves Memphis. Alan and I will go.
Yes. Which, by the way, why wouldn't they have this set up ahead of time? Like,
I don't know. And they got to set them up so far away for some reason.
And they're not even like they're not even buried.
They say they can just set them on the ground.
Oh yeah,
makes no
be
sense.
safe like a try,
whatever. But so they got to go. They got to set up these sensors. So they're going to split up into three. And we also get a quick scene of Finn explaining all this technology in an exposition dump where he's talking to Dan. He's like, "It's the SEEPS system. This something early, something protection, whatever."
We call it SEEPS, our Smart Early Earthquake Prediction System.
blah blah blah, and it's like this whole system they created, and it's just like nonsense techno jargon expedition dump. And then so they're gonna go to these 3 places. Somebody's got to go to St. Louis, somebody's got to go to Nashville, and somebody's got to go to Memphis. I think they say, which to me is not
doesn't work.
The triangle of that isn't put like New Madrid in the middle, does it? I don't think it puts like Southern Illinois in the middle. I would think
kind of put it in there a little.
Would it? I don't think it would. I think it would be. I have to look at a map.
Now we have to look at a map. We're gonna fast forward this part.
Yep. Oh, I guess it would. Memphis is further southeast or southwest than I think.
It wouldn't be like very
perfect,
concise,
but it would be. It would be okay. It does triangulate. That's fair. They got me there. You got me on that one, movie. Fair enough. I always forget that Memphis is like. I always think Memphis is further east than it is for some reason. Anyway, so they're gonna fly. This is where we were introduced to the fact that the dad is a helicopter pilot as well,
which seems a little weird. That I guess he owns like. He has his own helicopter pad and everything at this fracking company.
I guess they use it for to frack. I don't know what they need a helicopter for.
I am shocked that their helicopters just have infinite fuel.
Oh yes, infinite fuel, and I love that they're completely CG. It's so good though.
Yes.
They're actually a lot better than they used to be. I remember some of the old CG helicopters from like old Asylum movies. We've done like Titanic, I think had one. And this one, they're actually for the most part pretty convincing, but you can tell that they are CG helicopters for the most part.
Also, there's like a couple of times where I can't tell if they totally fucked up on which helicopter asset they wanted for a particular scene.
Yeah.
And they just threw in some lines of dialogue to cover it. But we'll just go into the very next scene. They the kids and her research assistant. What's her name?
Carla, maybe.
Carla.
Yeah. They go to St. Louis.
They go up to St. Louis. Just find some parking garage.
They land on a parking garage for no reason when
Yes.
there's a bunch of like empty ground around. That drove me insane. I'm like, why would you land on the roof of that parking garage?
Because they needed to collapse.
Exactly. That's the only reason. It's so stupid.
But they go and put their little shitty tripod sensor up, and then they look back and they're like, all right, we need to get back to the helicopter and go. And the helicopter's just
it's already leaving.
Lying there, and they're like, no, it's just hovering.
It's just hovering.
Wait, what?
Why?
It's already leaving.
I'll be right behind you.
It's just hovering. Come on.
You see that warning, Carla?
Yeah.
What is happening? It's such a weird line, Kyle. They're like, no, it's leaving. Oh, no, it's just hovering. Okay, well, why would you have it do that?
Why would you be burning fuel doing that too?
I don't understand at all. It makes because it landed and was just sitting there waiting, and now I guess it's so stupid. It makes no sense. I think the idea is just so that when the earthquake hits, the helicopter isn't on the building, so it doesn't get destroyed, so that way they can fly away still eventually. I guess because then an earthquake hits, and
the sun
gets stuck under a piece of
which
thing.
I'm like, oh, cool, his leg's broken. That's nice.
Yeah, he gets his leg cut on her thing, and they're able to rescue him and get him out. But then she leaves her iPad. Carla leaves her iPad.
She's got to get her like seismology app or whatever
sensor app thing, and she runs back for it, and the roof clicks.
It's so good.
Who can say where the road goes?
Meanwhile, the husband and wife are flying
to Nashville.
Or one of the two, and they're having a little chit chat in the helicopter. And I love there's this line where she's like, because this is the thing that works the least about this movie to me, is so we have this whole subplot, which is a classic thing of like, oh, the situation, this event like forces this separated husband and wife back together, and that like reignites their love, and they fall back in love. Except these people seem to fucking hate each other the whole movie.
They do.
It's such a bad job of having them like come back together. And
my favorite part of that is that they just held down like the push to talk button or whatever the whole time. And Finn is hearing all this,
listening.
And he's just like, oh, cool. I guess I'm fucking cockblocked for my own fiance.
Yeah.
I just kept hoping that you would come home.
Or maybe even just call.
Oh, I love too though when she leaves, because right before this, I forgot this part. They leave when they're getting ready to leave to go fly down there. She talks to Finn and she's like, and Finn goes like, "Hey, text me about colors for the wedding." And the face she makes when he says that, I was like, "Oh, bro, you are not getting married. It is not happening."
Text me your thoughts on the color palette for the wedding.
Okay.
Oh, God. Also, we have a conversation where we find out that the evil seismologist, he also stole Cammy's system, supposedly, because they used to work together.
But he's also an idiot and doesn't realize how to triangulate.
Yeah, so he thinks the epicenter is in Sykeston.
Yes.
Place the fault's leading epicenter in Sykeston, Missouri.
A single sensor?
And so his plan is they're going to go to Sykeston and drill a hole and drop a bomb 5,000 feet into the Earth's crust under Sykeston to somehow counteract to relieve the pressure. I don't know. They come up with some bullshit explanation for how this bomb is going to stop the earthquake.
Confirm the weak spot, bore a hole, clear the civilians within 20 miles, and boom.
But she's like, no, it's not Sykeston. The epicenter is Marston, which is a little city right near New Madrid, and which has a population of like 300 people.
Yeah, it's way tiny. My other favorite thing is we need to get that as close to the fault as possible.
Yeah.
So because I did all the USGS stuff for the website, I know the exact depth of the New Madrid fault, which is about 12 kilometers down, which is
way more than 5,000.
Yes.
A little bit more than 5,000.
Once again, a little bit of research would have helped out.
And that's a number they don't even care about at the end of the movie.
No,
we'll get to it. I was so mad, Kyle, about that. I was like, what the fuck? We'll get there. I was so mad. And no spoilers, though. Oh, my God. So, they're talking and he finds out that like they still have feelings, but it's so funny because all he does really over here is them arguing with each other. It's like they actually don't sound like they're still in love.
No.
They sound like they still fucking hate each other.
Oh, what's the reason we split? Oh, right, because you wanted money and I wanted to save lives or whatever.
You got everything you wanted. You got the house, you got the kids, you got the lab, everything, Cammy, everything.
Almost everything.
And they seem to still hate each other. It's incredible. Also, I love that, like, when they're having that conversation, the helicopter they're flying in is just silent. They're having, like, a perfectly, like, room volume, like speaking tone conversation in a helicopter.
And this is only matched and surpassed by the fact that he's not even paying attention to where they're going.
Just, like, looking at her talking the whole time as he's flying his helicopter.
They fly
into power lines.
Look out!
And are fine. I feel like the odds of a helicopter flying into live power lines and it just being fine are very low.
So helicopter blades tend to be very light and very rigid, and if you hit them against anything, they're gonna wrap or they're gonna shatter.
You would
One
think,
of the two.
yeah, but no. Apparently, it just knocks the power line off, and he's like has to land. Like he's like, oh, I can't control the airflow or something.
No,
those
blades would be useless. Your thing would be twisted over, and you would be dead.
And then he lands and goes, and he looks at it and goes, luckily, it seems fine. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's fine. It's not fine.
Well, helicopter looks good. Main rotor looks good. It's just a hard landing.
Oh, God. Also, that dude's a terrible actor. That whole conversation they have on that helicopter, every one of his lines is so overwrought. It's ridiculous.
I thought that I was doing the right thing for you and for Emily and for Eric.
This guy is a soap opera actor, I guarantee you.
Yeah, the main woman is for sure. I looked her up. She was like on Days of Our Lives and stuff. Yeah, she is like primarily but I thought she was fine in this, honestly. I thought he was just terrible. But meanwhile, the brother and sister, they get back from wherever they were. They were in St. Louis. They get back and then they go to Jeff City and they barge into the Capitol
as a press conference.
As a press conference is happening, and they're like, they're lying to you. The earthquake's coming for us all.
They're like coming in like Stop Oil, where they're like getting right in front of the mic, being like, we gotta stop this. They're causing seismic activity.
The earthquake's gonna kill us all. And they're like, get him out of here. It's so good. It's so funny.
She's lying to you. I'm Dr. Cammy Waddell's daughter. And I've seen all the information that they gathered.
One thing I do need to get into this.
Yeah.
I am actually thoroughly impressed by their DP and their camera work, because like lot of this stuff is well shot.
It looks fine for the most part. Yeah.
The best credit we can give the film is this: it's not terribly shot. Which is a far cry from some of the Asylum movies.
Yeah, honestly, it looks better than a lot of the Asylum movies you'll see, but it's still
I think
not
a lot of that
it's nothing special. It's just
a lot of that has to do with a lot of the scenes they're in. They have color schemes and stuff like that because of like computer screens. They have a bunch of lights and stuff that they can use for influence.
Yeah,
and whoever they had for DP understands that, and it looks pretty good.
Like I said, it looks, especially because when you find out that most of these movies are shot over the course of like a few weeks or something, like they shoot these over incredibly short timelines, and so the fact that these movies come out looking anything like a real movie is impressive. And again, it's not a good looking movie, but it looks reasonably okay.
Yes,
like it looks fine.
Point is, there's an aspect of this film that is passable.
Yeah. Also, I love, so when we cut down to Sykeston, I love the guy, the evil seismologist, the guy he's working with some guy from like the Missouri Department of SEMA or something. I don't know.
Seismology. It's a real thing.
Oh yeah. But anyway, so they're talking about drilling the hole so they can plant the bomb.
Yes.
And I love the guy he's working with has like, I think this is guy's actual facial scar, but he has like facial scarring
it's pretty,
to like make him look evil. Like they're like, let's cast a guy in there as this role who has like this facial scar because they're the bad guys. It's such a weird choice, but I mean, maybe that's not the choice, but I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting.
I would be curious on, because I guess you could have the Missouri National Guard there, but who would have the authority to like fire off a munitions of a certain amount? Would that be like an actual U.S. military thing, or could the National Guard do that?
I have no idea.
I don't know. It's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I have no idea. So then, meanwhile, Dan and Brenda are in Memphis, setting up the final one.
Literally just like along the highway somewhere.
Like literally like on a turnpike. Because as they're setting it up, a car.
Oh my God. An earthquake happens and a car comes careening off it.
And just slams into the berm on the side of the highway, like next to a big sinkhole that is opened up or whatever. And Brenda is there. She's like, no, we gotta do something.
Well, she did.
We have to help. We have to help!
Brenda, where are you going?
She goes running over there. Oh my God. I think Dan yells, my God, Brenda, which is great.
It's great. But Dan being the only person with sense is like, that ground looks very unstable. I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Yes.
Brenda goes and tries and saves this guy. Big shocker, gets brought down literally into the sinkhole.
Just falls into the sinkhole. Again. Brenda's dead, and Dan's like, oh, fuck, okay.
Yep.
I love that every single one of the sensors they set up is immediately like almost destroyed, because the same thing happens with the husband and wife.
Yes, it's like inside a collapsed building at that point.
Yeah, and it like falls and they gotta like go get the pieces. Like he's gotta like hang and like drag the pieces of the sensor out of the thing. It's so stupid.
Grab the box.
They're all almost immediately straight. And then after he's able to rescue the sensor, they hug. And I'm like, I fucking hate this subplot. They've done zero work to make me think these people should be together, and they're forcing it anyways. I hate this. Finn seems like a much better, anyways, whatever. This guy sucks and I hate him. And then I love Dan gets back and he's talking to Finn.
And
he tells them about
Dan is clearly having PTSD right here. And Finn is just geeking out over shit and not even paying attention.
And then Dan's like, hey, Brenda's dead.
What's wrong? I couldn't get to her. I couldn't save her.
And Finn's like, oh no. And they share this moment. And my favorite thing is that he says,
she wouldn't have wanted us to waste time feeling sorry for her. No, Brenda.
Brenda wouldn't want us to feel sorry for her. You know, Brenda. And I'm like, do you? You guys just met her like 30 seconds ago. Neither of you know her. Because Carla was the one who worked with Finn.
Yes.
Brenda works for the fucking dad's company, I think, or did. I thought. Who knows? It's so funny though. They have this moment. You know how what Brenda would want. It's like, no, they don't.
No, they don't.
No idea.
For Brenda
and Carla.
So now they decide they got to stop the earthquakes for Brenda and Carla, and for all of them that they've lost. The sentimentality is so overcooked in this movie.
Considering the locations we've had these earthquakes, there's so many dead people.
Yes.
There's so many.
At the end of the movie, we'll get there. my entire family and everybody I know is dead at the end of this movie. We'll get there.
The damage done was catastrophic. Nothing can change that. But at least we can rebuild.
Then we get this action scene because Finn, the power goes out and Finn has to go like restart the power. And it's like this dramatic, they try to portray it as this dramatic thing. He's like flipping a breaker.
Yes, it's so dumb.
But the music's like, and he's like, I gotta flip the breakers. It's so stupid.
Yeah, hero.
Yes.
Hero moment.
So then they talk about how, okay, so when this next big earthquake happens later, what's going to happen is because it's the New Madrid, it's under the river, basically, or right on the river.
New Madrid, the Midwest, all underwater. Maybe even the entire country.
Not only will New Madrid, but the Midwest and potentially the entire country will get flooded and get underwater because of the Mississippi.
What the hell?
The Mississippi can't flood the entire country? I feel fairly confident in saying that
I think the Mississippi's depth, even in the channel, is like maybe 60 something feet, maybe like 80. It's not that deep.
Even if you displaced all of the water from the Mississippi River, the entire length of it, which this wouldn't be, it would only be like the bottom part of it. Even if you displaced all of the water across the entire country, I think it would be a very small amount of water. I don't think it's
the dumbest thing.
The fact that they say it could flood the entire country is insane. Yes, the whole region, sure, but like the country? What are you talking about? I don't believe that's possible.
And there's flooding will destroy what's left of Middle America, maybe even the entire country. We have to stop this quake.
So that's what they're worried about, is that this whole flood and stuff's going to happen. And then we get then we cut to Jeff City again, and then a giant earthquake happens in Jeff City. Which, here's the thing, JeffIty is in the middle of the state, and is not on the fault line.
Well, I mean, still,
it's still in the area, but it's not like in the same region.
Nashville also got hit by this earthquake, and it's not nowhere close either.
That's true, but it's a little closer than Jeff City is. I feel like.
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, so it might get hit by the thing, but. We'll get to it later, what eventually happens. But anyway, so the governor's all upset. She realizes she's fucked up everything. It's all her fault. And I love the whole end of this movie. The entire state is crumbling. The world is falling apart. And the governor is just alone in her office. Like,
and never evacuates.
No people come in to be like, hey, we got to talk. You know, like, she never talks to anybody.
Never has this like moment where she's like inconsolable and she's not going to leave.
Yes.
She's accepting this as her responsibility and going down with the government. Or
like nobody even tries to remove the governor from her office. She's just alone in her office for the rest of the movie, and it's so weird.
Okay.
Also, I love we see some shots of like rubble from what they're passing off as downtown Jeff City, and there's just like giant pine trees and stuff everywhere. It's incredible. And then this is where we get the big scene. We cut back, and they're got to get ready for the big finale here. And because they're getting ready to set off the bomb, or the bad seismologists getting ready to set off the bomb. They're gonna go try to stop them, or they got to go do something to do whatever. Mm-hmm. And Finn and Cammy have their conversation. He's like, before you guys go, we need to talk. And he's like,
you guys are built for this kind of pressure.
You guys are built for this kind of pressure, but I'm not. This isn't the kind of life for me. You guys belong together. And he basically is just like, leave me. Yep. He says he's gonna go like try to get a job in Jeff City.
Jeff City, in the government or whatever.
Yeah. And I love, he's like, look, I can't, earlier I had the power went out and I freaked out trying to, and it's like, but you fixed it. Like you fixed it fine. Like you solved the problem.
Under pressure and
all we see these other two assholes do is bicker. Like all they do is fight. And like, it's not even that. It's so stupid. Like, if you're writing this movie, at least give us moments where it seems like these two make a good team or something. All they do is fuck around and like yell at each other, and then like this, they succeed by pure happenstance. It's not because they're good at what they do. It's so stupid.
Are we at the point where Brett's finished drilling?
Yes.
Yes. I do love how their drill has to be inside of a barrel.
So you can't see it.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a shot of it like in an oil drum. Yeah, going into the ground. Yes, but he has now reached the depth, and they send the bomb down the line, and he's gonna blow it up. If he does, they talk about, they're like, if he blows that up, it's going to cause a chain reaction that's going to destroy like the country. And spoilers, he blows it up and it causes a chain reaction that destroys like the entire Midwest. What the? I also love, I don't know if you noticed, in that scene where they're talking about what's going to happen, our good guys are on their laptop, and the laptop they have is the exact same laptop that Eric Roberts had in Blackbird. It's that same... black and gray laptop. It's incredible. Anyways, I love, so they're gonna blow the bomb up, and as he's getting ready to blow it up, he's like, they're all standing like on top of the bomb, like where they planted it. And he goes, all right, pull everybody back 50 miles.
Get everyone packed up and ready to move. We're out of here as soon as that bomb is in place.
Yes, sir.
And he gets in a helicopter and starts flying away. And like 30 seconds later he goes, you pulled them back 50 miles. All right. Or no, somebody calls him and goes, all right, we did it, sir. We pulled them back 50 miles. I'm like, in like 30 seconds? How did you get all of those? It makes no sense.
They blow it up in the scene, everything after this is just the most
chaos.
Insane shit ever.
Yes.
Sir, it didn't reset the plates. It triggered a magnitude 8.6.
No.
The Mississippi causing tsunami waves, hitting St. Louis, hitting Jefferson City, which is up the Missouri River.
Missouri River. That's the thing. I was like, it's not even on the Mississippi River. It's an entirely different fucking river, you fucks. It's so stupid. But yes, and I love so there's just flooding everywhere, and I love our guys need to get out of their
they have one helicopter, and they
cram six people
into a 4-seater.
I love too when they're running to the helicopter, the father guy gets around the corner of the thing and sees all the water, like an entire wall tsunami of water.
It is like what in Interstellar when they're on the water planet, and they're like, those are mountains.
And his reaction is, oh wow. He says, oh wow.
Oh, wow. Well, let's go, guys.
It's so stupid. And an entire tsunami of water coming at them, and they all finally pile into this tiny little helicopter with all 6 of them, and he gets off and he's able to take off just in time. And yeah, everything gets washed away. There's this great shot of, it's like you see these cars it's like an aerial shot of cars on a highway and water rushing over it, but the cars are all frozen because it's a still shot.
Full image.
It's so stupid.
There is one shot where we get of the arch.
Yes.
That is the worst composited shot I've ever seen of the arch.
Is this the part where it breaks at the top?
Yeah, I think this is the part where it breaks the top. But the arch, they have, so if you've ever been to St. Louis, the arch is almost right on the Mississippi.
Yeah.
There's like not a whole lot of distance between.
Oh no,
it's like
a couple hundred feet or something. Yeah.
But they have like buildings in between the river and the arch.
Yes.
I'm like, that doesn't look right at all. What is this?
It's not even close. But the arch collapses, starting at the top for some. I think the middle just chunk falls out, which everybody does when they have because it just looks more interesting. Whatever, I get it. But so the arch collapses, and then we cut to the governor, and she just gets killed by a flood in Jeff City. Again, why is Jeff City flooding? It's an entirely different river that runs the other direction, or that is upriver, I think.
Yes,
whatever.
It's upriver. It's so dumb.
Makes no sense. I think it's upriver. I'm pretty sure. And then I love right after the governor gets crushed. This is the shot I was talking about earlier. We get an aerial shot of, I guess, supposed to be some other city getting flooded.
Yeah, it's just flooding.
But it is a shot. I think the water is digitally added, but the like B-roll, the like stock footage they purchased is clearly like a European city in like, because all the buildings are like from the 1600s and
all have like thatched roofs.
Yes, it literally looks like a hamlet in like France or something, and that is what they show as this Midwest town being. I was losing.
That's hilarious.
There's a church from like the 1300s in the background. What is going on? It's so stupid, dude. Oh, it's so funny. Oh my god.
The only thing this movie is missing for the military response to all this is if they would have had fighter jets being sent out of Whitehead Bay Air Base to fight the earthquake.
Dogfight the earthquake. They're like shooting the waves and shit. Yeah.
I can't shake him. I can't shake him.
Yes.
Geysers coming up.
So everything's blowing up, but their plan, they know if they can blow up a bomb, because this isn't even the bad earthquake. They still have like 10 minutes until the really bad earthquake happens. But if they can set off this bomb, they specifically say,
well, how deep does it go?
It's about 5,000 feet.
The heart of the fault.
5,000 feet down, because we find out that the dad has a fracking site that's like close enough to the epicenter. It's in
Marsden.
Yeah, that's close enough to the epicenter that they can use like an access and get the bomb down to the depth it needs to be. And they say my mining thing goes down 5,000 feet, and they're like, that's perfect or whatever. So they're gonna fly there. Meanwhile, the fucking they have the sun fly for some reason, because there was one line in the very beginning of the movie where he's like, I think it'd be cool to be a pilot.
My dad taught me how to fly a helicopter. It's so sweet.
It'd be nice if there was a reason why the dad couldn't fly.
Yeah, right. Or if he had like broken his arm or something, like give some reason why he can't fly. But no, they just decide at the time when we need the most precision flying we've ever had in order to save literally the entire country, Kyle. This is a great time for our 17-year-old son to learn how to fly a helicopter.
Also, crazy thing here, and I noticed this, typically in this kind of film, the Brett, the bad guy, would just be ceremoniously killed off from hoist by his own petard, right?
Yeah.
No, he's fine.
He's fine. And he's like, I fucked that one up, guys.
I'm gonna fly back to DC. Bye.
Yeah, he's like, I really bungled that one, guys. And yeah, but anyway, so what they need to do, and Kyle, this climax is the worst. It's so fucking stupid.
It is.
The whole thing is that they got to get this bomb into this shaft to get it down 5,000 feet, they say. Then so in order to do this, they drop the mom and the dad off, and then the son and the daughter take off in the helicopter, and they're gonna attach this bomb to the helicopter to lower it into this hole. And then they run over to so they attach it to the helicopter, and then he starts he almost kills them with the bomb like 4 times because he can't fly. And I love the dad is just yelling at him, no, straighten it out. Like,
shut up, Dan.
Full power, eyes out front.
Correct for that yaw right there.
But he gets it, and they run over to he's like, here, the well. And the dad runs over, and he opens what he says is a well. And she says, how deep is it? And he says, about 1,000 feet.
How deep does this thing go?
It's about 1,000 feet.
The whole point was you needed it to be 5,000 feet, and this is not 5,000.
Yes. You know what an 80s movie also would have done for the son in this situation? They would have had a beginning of the film where he was playing one of those prize grabber machines.
Exactly.
An 80s film would have done that. It would have been so
great.
Stupid, but it would have been perfect.
It would have been great. And then, the dad breaks his arm so he can't fly. Like, give him a reason not to fly, not just like, nah, fuck it, I guess we'll just let the kid try it right now. It makes no sense. And then, the thing that is the stupidest, so they get this helicopter, and they got to get it over the hole to drop the thing. They were carrying the bomb. They drug it over and armed it themselves. Why didn't they just drop it down the hole? Why do you need to attach it to a helicopter to drop it down the hole, Kyle?
No idea.
The hole is like, if the hole was like a smokestack or something 100 feet in the air, sure. Like that's, it's literally just a hole in the ground.
It's like 3 feet high.
Yeah, they could just push it. It makes no fucking sense. Anyway, so they get it, and they finally get it. He's able to wrangle the helicopter. They get the bomb, and they say they have 30 seconds.
No obstructions between you and the bomb, and once you trigger it, you have 30 seconds to get out of there.
Once it drops,
30 seconds lasts like 3 minutes.
It does. They drop it. It like unclips from the helicopter, and then their plan is to lower a ladder,
a rope ladder,
from the helicopter so that our heroes can jump onto it. And the shot of her jumping onto the rope ladder, she's just running at the camera and goes, jumps like an inch in the air. And they get on this ladder, and I was like, this whole thing. Here's what should have been, Kyle. You land the helicopter, you pull the bomb out, you arm it, you drop it down the hole, you just get back on the helicopter and fly away. But no, we got to do all this other bullshit because of course we do.
Also, the daughter's like, it's stuck. You need to go down lower. And then afterwards, when they get on, she's like, okay, I'm gonna reel them back up. It's like those two things don't work.
It makes no sense. Yeah.
It's broken. It's only going part way. You need to get lower. Hey, Mom, Dad, we're reeling you in.
So they're able to get them, and I love as they're flying away. During the explosion, they're having a normal volume conversation hanging from a helicopter with an explosion happening. They're just like chit chatting. It's incredible.
We did it. We did it. Oh yeah.
So then they show the aftermath, and it's just everything is destroyed. That's why I said earlier. So St. Louis is completely gone. The entire city is flooded and destroyed and just completely gone. And they're like, yeah, so like millions of people died, but luckily we can rebuild. So
The damage done was catastrophic. Nothing can change that. But at least we can rebuild.
And then I love they have this whole big conversation in the helicopter. This is their big reunite loving, like, oh, look, they're finally back together. And it's just sucks so much. And I couldn't do it because his last line, she's like, you showed me what you really care about. And he's like, I just got lost for a little bit. It's all the worst. And then at the end he goes, but
it's you. It's always been you.
But Cammy, it's you. It's always been you. I was like, fuck you.
I am rather shocked that throughout this entire film, despite us being in Southeast Missouri, supposedly for the whole film, they didn't mention Cape Girardeau or SEMO once.
Not once, which I thought was interesting. Yeah. It's like the biggest city in the area, and they're like not even mentioned.
I think it's like almost 3 times the size of Sykeston or something like that.
Probably, I don't know. Sykeston's like 10,000, I think, and Cape's like 50 almost, 40 something. Yeah. So yeah, it's I don't know, whatever. They couldn't even pronounce the fucking area right, man. They couldn't. They said New Madrid the entire movie. But yeah, it's so. Here's the thing. I think it's bad.
This is definitely bad.
But for us, it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun just being from the area.
Yes.
Like I've grown up here, and hearing them say New Madrid, just hurt my brain.
They say it 1,000. It's every sentence, man. It's crazy. But it's bad. It's classic Asylum slop. It's just terrible CG.
I will say, unlike Titanic 2, at least was a passion project by Dick Van Dyke's grandson. Yeah. And this lacks any of that charm.
Absolutely. It does. Again, the only charm it has is if you're from the specific region and can laugh at all the like ridiculousness of what they try to pass off as this area. But other than that, for normal people, not that interesting. No. That's going to do it. As always, you can do us a giant favor heading over to patreon.com/GBorBB. Support us there. Get access to bonus content. We're about to record a new bonus short. We put one out every month. Last month, we had one about self-defense and bullying. All kinds of fun stuff for the bonus content. You go to early access on episodes, all that kind of good stuff. Check that out. You can also support us by heading over to tpublic.com. All these links are in the description. Search for Good Bad or Bad Bad or Quantum Physics or any of that stuff. You can find our merch.
Get a wide variety of mugs, t-shirts, all that fun stuff.
Anything you could want. I also have a podcast called This Films that we're talking about movies that are based on books. When this episode's out, our most recent episode will have been the first in our summer series, The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey.
That is a fun little read.
Yes, we're doing The Hobbit this summer for our summer series, which normally we do. It's like 3 big books and 3 movies.
I was gonna say this is one little book,
relatively
with
short
3
book.
films.
Yeah, with 3 long ass
It's like
movies.
what is it? 93 pages, The Hobbit.
Oh no, it's like 300 pages. The Hobbit's pretty long. It's not as long as any of the Lord of the Rings.
It's been forever since I've read it.
It's not as long as any of the Lord of the Rings books, but it's still like
Lord of the Rings
pages.
books are freaking like biblical tomes in length.
In comparison, but it's still like 300 something pages. I think it's not nothing. But so we're doing that, and we'll be doing all 3 of the movies over the course of the coming weeks. So look out for that. And I believe that's it. Until next time, keep watching movies.
Just not
unless you're specifically from Southeast Missouri.
Unless you can get a kick out of it, not Continental Split.
Yeah. New Madrid.